Picture this. It's Thanksgiving in the 1960s. Motown is spinning on the record player, cousins are running through the house, and the smell of greens, candied yams, turkey, and cornbread fills the air. But before a single plate is touched, one guest quietly slips down the hallway, pushes open the bathroom door, and takes a slow, deliberate scan of the room. Not the food, not the kitchen, the bathroom. Because in Black households, the bathroom is the lie detector of the entire home. It's the one place nobody can fake, nobody can dress up, and nobody can hide behind a company is coming performance. If the tub is dirty, the food is a danger. If the toilet has stains, the kitchen cannot be trusted. And that instinct didn't come from nowhere. This goes deeper than preference. This comes from survival. During slavery, Black women weren't just cooks. They weren't just nannies. They were the sanitation workers of the entire plantation world, responsible for water hauling, washing, boiling, bleaching, bathing children, cleaning the quarters, scrubbing blood, dirt, illness, and filth from environments designed to break them. They were the unofficial epidemiologists of their community centuries before anyone gave them a title. In many slave narratives, the women describe how they were the ones who maintained any sense of hygiene because the enslavers simply did not care. And the one person who documented this best was an enslaved woman named Harriet Jacobs. In her autobiography, Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, she wrote about how enslaved women were responsible for laundering the enslavers' clothes, tending to bedding soiled with sweat and sickness, and boiling water to keep disease down in cabins that were overcrowded and nearly airless. Harriet wasn't speaking in metaphor. She was describing sanitation as life or death. A dirty cabin meant cholera. A filthy washhouse meant typhoid. Neglect meant funerals. Yet even in those conditions, Black women kept standards that today still shock people. They scrubbed until their knuckles bled. They sanitized without acknowledgement. They hauled water across miles because cleanliness was the only defense against sickness their community had. And when slavery ended, those same women became the washerwomen who carried entire southern cities on their backs. Think of the Atlanta washerwomen's strike of 1881, thousands of Black laundry workers demanding fair wages because white families depended on them. They weren't just washing clothes. They were keeping households, hospitals, hotels, and entire segregated neighborhoods from drowning in disease. They controlled hygiene in environments where sanitation was nearly non-existent. That's why in Black culture, cleanliness is not aesthetics. It is ancestral. It is inherited. It is survival. And that's also why it is deeply shocking, borderline unnerving, when a Black person walks into another home and sees a dirty bathroom. Because this is a people whose grandmothers disinfected the entire house before sunrise, whose mothers boiled rags, wiped down baseboards, and scrubbed tubs with Comet because bacteria was the quiet killer that Jim Crow wanted to blame on Negro uncleanliness. And yes, this is also why some folks quietly check the medicine cabinet too, because if the items you use every day are thrown, dusty, crusted, or disorganized, it tells the same truth the tub and toilet do, that you don't take care of yourself or your environment. In 1900, during the Memphis sanitation crises, Black homes were routinely blamed for disease outbreaks, despite the fact that the Black community had some of the strictest washing regimens in the city. White officials documented the filth in their own neighborhoods, but pushed a narrative that Black bodies were the source of contamination. So Black women fought back the only way they could, with spotless homes. With disinfected tubs, with polished sinks, with a cultural standard that said cleanliness is protection, and the bathroom became the proof. During Jim Crow, Black families were denied access to clean public restrooms. They were forced to travel with portable buckets, wash basins, and cleaning cloths because segregated spaces were intentionally left filthy as a form of humiliation. Black travelers kept their own bathroom kits because they could not trust what was waiting for them. And even after Jim Crow, sanitation neglect continued, just in different cities with different excuses. In the early 1960s, Brooklyn's CORE chapter led a public protest campaign after discovering that Black and Puerto Rican neighborhoods were going days and sometimes weeks without garbage pickup, while white neighborhoods received regular service. Trash piled so high that children had to walk around mountains of rotting waste just to get to school. Rats multiplied. The smell was unbearable. And these were tax-paying families, people who kept clean homes, receiving deliberately inferior sanitation. Core activists called it taxation without sanitation, staging demonstrations at Borough Hall and dumping uncollected garbage at government buildings to expose the city's neglect. It became one of the earliest documented battles against environmental racism in a northern city, proving that black families had to be twice as clean at home because the world outside their door refused to be clean for them. And yes, there is another layer nobody likes to admit. Europe, specifically Western Europe, has a long, documented history of inconsistent hygiene practices. Bathing was sporadic. Toilets were rudimentary. Waste was thrown into streets. Entire nations struggled with sanitation for centuries, far longer than most people realize. Black people knew this history through experience, travel, oral tradition, and anthropology, and it only reinforced a cultural disbelief in anyone who didn't see cleanliness as sacred. So when TikTok shows young black men checking tubs on Thanksgiving, that's not comedy. That is an echo. That is cultural memory speaking. That is centuries of being told that black filth was the cause of disease, even though our ancestors were the very ones washing clothes, scrubbing floors, disinfecting cabins, boiling water, and maintaining sanitation for households that refused to do it themselves.
This bathroom better be clean. If not, I'm not eating that food.
Black people don't check bathrooms because we're judgmental. Black people check them because our ancestors survived by knowing what dirt meant. Scope News tells the truth. Here are the facts. Harriet Jacobs documented the sanitation labor of enslaved women in her autobiography. The 1881 washerwomen's strike demonstrated the economic and sanitary power of black laundry workers. Jim Crow cities recorded systemic neglect in black neighborhoods, exposing how filth was weaponized against us. CORE's Taxation Without Sanitation protests in Brooklyn proved sanitation racism was not limited to the South. It was national. This history is not rumor. It's the foundation of a cultural instinct that lives to this day. Legal disclaimer. This report is based on historical research, cultural analysis, and documented archival materials. Scope News presents this content for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes. Viewer discretion is advised. This content reflects historical realities that may be upsetting or disturbing, including references to slavery, sanitation neglect, and racial injustice. Images discussed or referenced are used for contextual understanding and may reflect limitations in historical archives and licensing.